أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون كل آمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله وقالوا سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا لا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين.
آمين.
صدق الله العظيم.
ما شاء الله ما شاء الله. Yeah,
MashaAllah, Hafiz Muhammad Ali again. Fantastic recitation, isn't it? MashaAllah.
MashaAllah.
So Alhamdulillah, we've got quite the surprise for the viewers, isn't it?
Allah.
The return of Doc, isn't it?
The return of, and then the
Doc.
bleed.
You want to introduce yourself again, Doc?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
The voice of Manchester.
MashaAllah.
No, alhamdulillah, it's we make dua for I can't say the name, man. But actually, you know the name we gave him before, the stig.
The stig, is that what you call him?
Stig. Yes,
Stig.
The stig of our show. So it comes from basically those from Top Gear. So this car show that you have. So they have a particular character, a driver, yeah. So who's anonymous, nobody knows who he is, and he's called the Stig, and it's always about him. It's nice. So he's so Stig basically.
MashaAllah.
Make dua, Allah Ta'ala give him long, healthy life.
Ameen.
For some personal reasons, along with health, he was not able to attend. But alhamdulillah, he's back. I think he was just teasing us, wasn't he? Yeah.
Well, we survived.
We survived. We've been trained by the best.
No, I didn't want to come too often in case people get bored of me, you see.
Yes, salam. Yes.
Allah. And I don't think anybody could get bored, especially in your company. I remember I went to Birmingham once. You went to the Mawlid, the Grand Mawlid in Birmingham.
Yeah.
So me and Khalid drove. So I drove basically. We both drove together. Honestly, by Allah, it felt like a 10-minute drive.
Yes, salam.
Not for once did we go silent. We were discussing things all the way there, all the way back.
Yeah.
It was one of those journeys that I'm never going to...
Pretty intense and deep discussion though, isn't it? Like sometimes when you're on a journey with a good friend, you begin to reveal things which you otherwise would not say, you know, and it's good to relate to one another to that basis. Unfortunately, we're living in a time and age, and while I was off from here just dealing with certain community issues, we're living in a time and age where people don't trust one another, they can't relate to one another, they can't express themselves for who they really are, and they pretend a lot. And you know, that's part of the team. Acha, are we going to have a...
Yeah, I think, yeah.
So in order to start the day in a more spiritual vibe, inshallah, we've got Shah Sahib with us. And inshallah, Shah Sahib will recite some naat for us. And then after that, we'll leave it with Stig.
Business as usual after that.
Business as usual, yeah. Bismillah.
Sallallahu alayka ya Rasulallah wa sallam alayka ya Habib Allah. بیاں ہوں کس زباں سے مرتبہ صدیق اکبر کا، بیاں ہوں کس زباں سے مرتبہ صدیق اکبر کا، ہے یار غار محبوب خدا صدیق اکبر کا، ہے یار غار محبوب خدا صدیق اکبر کا، گدا صدیق اکبر کا خدا سے فضل پاتا ہے، گدا صدیق اکبر کا خدا سے فضل پاتا ہے، خدا کے فضل سے میں ہوں گدا صدیق اکبر کا، ہے خدا کے فضل سے میں ہوں گدا صدیق اکبر کا، بیاں ہوں کس زباں سے مرتبہ صدیق اکبر کا، الہی رحم فرما خادم صدیق اکبر ہوں، الہی رحم فرما خادم صدیق اکبر ہوں، تیری رحمت کے صدقے واسطہ صدیق اکبر کا، تیری رحمت کے صدقے واسطہ صدیق اکبر کا، بیاں ہوں کس زباں سے مرتبہ صدیق اکبر کا، ہے یار غار محبوب خدا صدیق اکبر کا.
MashaAllah. Those people who are going on Umrah Sharif now, and some of our friends and family have gone as well.
Yep.
I was only earlier on today talking about Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu to some family, and subhanAllah, we had like tears in our eyes thinking that those who lived with the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam during their lifetime are still with the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the grave, and now inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you know, we were talking about the day of judgment as in here and now, as if it's already here, because you know, when in Ramzan Sharif you have this sort of feeling. So we said, and now they will be with the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam raised on the day of judgment as well, as Abu Bakr as-Siddiq on the right and as Umar radiallahu anhu on the left. And then we began to talk about where we were which is the important thing. It's brilliant to talk about the fazail, and when you go to the masjid now, we're past halfway Ramzan Sharif, you know what happens, you know, some of the floors are empty now. Yeah,
the
so
lines are becoming empty.
Absolutely, and it really hurt. I went to another masjid today, and my heart like almost broke, because there was just one room which was full, all the other rooms were empty. And on the first day that I went there to pray, it was totally full. There was hardly room to stand. So
but we're given the good opinion. Look, you know,
they're at home doing it now.
they're at home doing it, yeah. So they're showing their children how to do it as well.
MashaAllah.
Yeah.
And you know, even when you pick a book up, you look at the beginning, look at the end. Ah, it looks nice. Front of that back. That's it. And you buy the book, don't you? And you're pleased with it. I think Allah's mercy will be in such a way. Started Ramadan well. Towards the end, the masjid will be full again. If the beginning and end is awwal akhir khair,
Yeah.
middle it will be khair.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah,
Alhamdu
MashaAllah.
fil ula wal
Yeah.
akhirah.
It's a good trade with Allah if Allah buys us. Alhamdulillah. No, brilliant. You know, that was my actually next point. So I asked certain people, where are you? And they said that, and this is the point now. When we started off in Ramadan, we found like the spiritual blessings, you know, the wind, the mushira that goes through the heavens and the earth. And then it seemed to go down a little. So we were thinking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a taste, and now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to continue, but there's a problem. We find it difficult to continue. And so what are you doing now? And they said, what we're doing now is we listen to the Quran on, you know, like there's these days you can, in 20 minutes you can listen to a full para, one juz, and we're reading at home. Because I said, why? They said, because we feel more spiritual. Because in the masjid
it's the same similar argument that, you know, those that are doing these shortcut taraweehs and shortcut everything shortcut in life. So those shortcut guys, one of the arguments they push forward is for doing 8 rakat or doing just the surahs every day, is they want to feel more of that taraweeh and feel the presence and have enough time to go back and then do a tahajjud and so they'll miss the entire khatam of the Quran just for that spiritual or whatever they want to feel.
It's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, Prophet ﷺ commands us, you know, don't make your homes a graveyard. Pray in your homes as well. Read Quran in your homes.
But that's where tahajjud comes in, isn't it?
That is where it comes in. But depriving yourself of the khatam of the Quran I think is a big shame. Like, a lot of people don't have the opportunity to become hafiz or to go and sit in a madrasa and read the Quran. So this might be the only time in their entire lives they actually get to hear every single word of Allah. And so, you know, you don't want to miss out on that.
So one person I was questioning, he said to me that he at the beginning he did go to Taraweeh in the masjid, but then he said that, you know, when I'm in the masjid and the Qari Sahib, I'm listening to the Qari Sahib, sometimes I keep on switching off. In other words, initially it was all
that's
like...
That's going to happen, that's normal, isn't it?
That's normal. So what I want today is
even for Hufaz, for example, if you're not reading, I'll put myself in that same spot. When I'm not actually reading the rak'at and I'm listening, there'll be moments where even I'll switch off. But like, for example, today I was doing all 20, fully awake. Every moment I was awake because you've got to read. You're on it. But when you've done like 16 and you're having to listen to 4 rakat, those 4 rakat, you start to take it easy. And I'm only comparing myself. Look, if that's what I'm experiencing, and I actually know what's being recited and I understand some bits of it because of Arabic, then imagine the rest who don't actually understand or know.
Yeah, it is difficult.
Where do they go?
Appreciate that.
Now you said this, you know, some of the reviews that people told me about the show while I was off is that they said that these guys, they like to be real and it's relevant to us and we feel that it's useful, it's beneficial. In other words, they're not talking like in the 9th cloud and, you know, they're all holy and hafiz and alim and spiritual and Sufi and the rest of it. Yeah. Okay. So you know, like
we've never claimed to be from the God Squad.
Okay. So admitting that is a big thing in itself, and
it happens. I tell you, I experience it, and I only feel for the rest of the crowd who don't understand Arabic, who don't understand the words, have not memorized the words.
Okay.
Because when I have that moment, I've switched off, and I come back in, I'm tuned back in. And I'm following.
But what they shouldn't do, they shouldn't assume that because they're not feeling it, that they're getting less.
Yes.
You're getting as much as we're getting. Rather, I think you're getting more.
Yes.
Because we understand what's being said. Allah's given us the enough encouragement, but for you lot that don't have it and then to remain there, I think Allah loves that a lot. To stay there, to complete the prayer, even if you're struggling, like I'm falling asleep, I don't understand what's being said.
I mean, that's where the endurance, the istiqamah comes in, isn't it?
That's a good word.
The endurance is what Allah wants to see. How much you'll continue to persist in wanting that. I mean, those that are just searching and they're craving that spirituality. I mean, the question that needs to be asked is, what's the maqsad behind going traweeh then? Are they
Okay.
just going there to please the nafs?
Yeah.
What the nafs craves? Or, what's on the mind?
So spirituality equals good deeds. Let's be a bit blunt. Yeah, some people think that spirituality is
But then
some
you have
kind
those
of a
that
feeling.
We have those that only want the feeling, but they don't want any of the good deeds.
Yeah. So what you just said there is very, very important to encourage people. In other words, when you are there switching off, falling asleep, you know, feeling tired, whatever, because you're there, it means a lot to Allah.
Of course.
And what it means to, no, rather than thinking about, I think Hafiz Fahim in the past said this one, well, rather than thinking about, you know, what I want, think about what Allah wants.
What Allah wants,
Yeah.
What safat is safa. Allah takes an oath by those that stand in congregation.
Yeah.
In fact,
And-
there's a beautiful hadith that talks about the Quran specifically.
Mashallah.
That the al-mahiru bil Quran,
Yes.
the one
Subhan.
who's fluent, he's mastered it, you know, he's got great reward.
Yeah.
He'll be risen on the day of judgment with the scribes. But that person who finds it difficult and still continues, he persists,
Yeah.
he has endurance, he has istiqamah upon his recitation, he carries on trying, falahu ajran, he gets double reward.
Yeah.
So those people who are struggling with it, they're actually getting twice what we're getting.
Yeah.
It's fluent to us, it's easy to
Mashallah.
us.
Mashallah.
But
So
people
don't
like
break
those.
your hearts.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
No,
don't
exactly.
think we're gonna. So
This is Malang that comes to Quba Masjid. I call him Malang, but he's like, you know what I mean by Malang, yeah?
yeah.
So he's proper down to earth and he's always humbling himself. He's like, how I make dua? I'm like, look, you're the guys that need to make dua for me. No, you go, no, but you're the Imam Sahib, you're the Maulvi Sahib, you need to make dua. I'm like, no, but, okay, if I'm going to make dua for everyone, who's going to make dua for me? Do I not need
Yeah.
duas?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You know, so there you go. So as an encouragement for those people who I know are listening today,
I
because
actually use this one
yeah.
when someone asks me to make dua for them. Sometimes I know I'm not going to find the time, so I say, if you make the dua for me, the angels will make it for you. So now you can either have mine or you can have an angel's dua. It's up to you.
Mashallah, good bargain there. Good
Yeah,
bargain
because
there.
the hadith says when you make dua for a Muslim brother in his absence, Allah
Yeah.
appoints an angel that says Ameen and then repeats that same dua for you.
Yeah.
So that's, it's a bargain, like you said, win-win
Yeah.
situation.
A brother heard this and he kept on saying to his other brother, I make dua, you get Mercedes. I make dua, you get Mercedes. So there you go. There's the encouragement. In other words,
That's a
even
cheat.
if you can't get to the masjid, let's just say you can't get to the masjid, you find it difficult to get to the masjid, you drag yourself to the masjid, you get your wife and mum and dad and they would tell you off, no, you have to go to the masjid, whatever it takes being there. Now when you're there, the next question is, when you're fed up, would that be considered to be a sin that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does? Like you really astaghfar, I'm being really real here, like meaning fed up, that you know what I mean, like you're listening to the Quran, na'uzubillah, and yeah,
I don't think it's like it's a sin of such, but what I do think is a lack of tarbiyah.
okay,
Yes, throughout the year he's not trained himself to read or listen to the Quran at all. He's not in the right mindset to take from the Quran. And when you suddenly put him into that situation where he's just randomly walked into the masjid by accident, Tom took him the wrong address, talking to the masjid, he's walked through and he's there now. But now he's not trained, he's not spiritually ready or physically even ready for that.
He
has
heard
that
the Sahaba used to get ready for Ramadan 6 months earlier, and then he has been in those same classes where I was, where he was told like Rajab, Shaban, get ready for Ramadan. Yeah,
but he didn't, then did he?
Yeah,
he didn't.
But the thing is that
like even the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as we know, he never needed to prepare for Ramadan in any such way.
Yeah.
But on the apparent for our teaching, he went the extra mile in prep for Ramadan. Like we know in the month of Sha'ban, he fasted for almost the entire month.
Yeah. His
Quran recitation increased, his generosity increased. So the companions saw him actively working towards Ramadan.
So I'm going to be very, very real because I was asked to be very, very real today.
Be real.
Okay, so when you say this, and I did say to some of these people, and they said, well, we're not that level, we're not Sahaba, we're not awliya, we're here and now in Britain. Yeah,
I actually hate that comment.
Yeah,
when people say that we're not the Sahaba, we're not prophets, we can't do that.
Yeah,
it's like it's like the escape that they
it's
use.
quite an
the
ignorant
back door.
thing to say, innit?
It's a dangerous thing to say as well.
Allah created the Anbiya, created the Sahaba for that purpose, that they're your role models. For you to say, well, we're not them, so we don't have to be like them.
No,
It's
they're not saying we don't have to
totally-
be like them. Say we can't be to their level, which you can't be. But the thing is that all we're saying to them is try. So if you try, then it's the result is in the hands of Allah, not in your hands. Okay. So
Yeah.
being real about this. If somebody feels that they are becoming a better Muslim, forget the spirituality or the feeling, becoming a better Muslim by reading Traweeh at home, are we going to blame them? Because in the masjid, how they're feeling, like the words were used, fed up, like they ask forgiveness as well. But we want to listen to the
It's a very real
Quran.
problem you're touching on there.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do we say?
I think, look, being fed up, like I already touched on, I think he just needs more time. He needs to attach himself more with the Quran outside of Taraweeh. And the more he does that, may it be in the form of reading the translations.
So the reason I'm giggling is because these exact words which I was saying to him, almost word for word, attach yourselves to God. But I can't even do Taraweeh.
Outside of Taraweeh, he has to make the effort. So when he's in Taraweeh, for example, read that juz that the Imam Sahib is going to read that with the translation. So when you do go to the masjid in the evening, at least those themes flow through your mind, and you are able to focus a little bit. Because how else is he going to go there? Otherwise, he'll use this as an excuse for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Last year's experience was not nice. I was fed up. This year, I'm not even going to try.
Yeah, absolutely. They do it.
And then it's a floodgate system, isn't it?
So what I did was,
where do you stop it?
I said, there's a lady who lives down the road, and she rang me and she's got 6 children, and the 7th one is on the way as well.
Inshallah.
And she has finished half the Quran already. Yeah, and I said to her, when do you get the time to read it? You got 6 kids, your husband's at work, and the 7th one's on the way. How do you get? She goes, I don't know, I just love reading it. Now, I thought that might encourage him because, they say that we're not living in the time of the Sahaba or the awliya in that sense. But he felt even more down, somewhat hopeless, thinking, wait a minute, I'm a man and I don't have that much responsibility, and she's a lady, and you know how male chauvinism,
and she's able to
do it as well. So I thought, okay, that's the wrong approach.
Person, he told me his sister does 15 juz a day door.
Subhanallah.
15 juz a day.
Whilst driving to work, to university, coming back, she works as a maktab teacher, and while she's cooking, cleaning, 15 juz throughout the entire thing, every day, without fail.
No, that's really putting us down, right?
I don't think it's putting it down.
Thank you, Hamza.
It's motivation, isn't it?
No, it's to show that other people can do it, but they say, but this is me. Now,
it's hope that, look, if somebody else can manage that in their time, then there's hope for you as well. It's just time management. That's all it is.
Okay, but we want the more specific answer to the question that a number of people are saying, that we feel that we are becoming better. When I ask, what do you mean by becoming better Muslims? Yeah, they're saying, taqwa, we talk about like Ramadan equals taqwa. Yeah, they're saying the presence of Allah. They said when we are in the masjid, we don't really feel the presence of Allah, but when we're doing it on our own, reading it,
you don't necessarily have to sacrifice the jamaat of the masjid for that. Do your tarawih, go home and do tahajjud. Do your tahajjud at home. But you don't have to sacrifice tarawih.
Yeah.
Missing out on tarawih. We did some maths, didn't we, the other day?
Oh yeah.
The amount of reward available for you in tarawih.
Allah.
We didn't even touch on the reward that you get for listening to a letter of the Quran. We didn't even touch. We didn't do that calculation.
No,
we just did. What happens if you do one
remember what it was?
So 1.5
No, it
billion.
was
1.45 billion.
Yeah. We calculated it based on certain hadith.
Per
That was
good
even
deed
everything.
in the month of Ramadan, with a turban on, in Jamaat, in the masjid,
With miswak.
with having used miswak before, we had all these things, variations. You could get up to 300. How many?
375 billion.
375 billion hasanat, good deed per.
you could fit billion on the calculator.
Yeah,
you
but
turn
on-
it sideways, isn't it?
Oh,
You turn it sideways.
okay.
And we didn't even factor in the reward you get for listening to this Quran.
Subhanallah.
So don't deprive yourself of that reward.
So the answer is, even if you feel so-called fed up, in inverted commas, fed up, still persevere, because Allah still likes that.
Yeah.
Allah still
Keep
likes
trying,
that.
keep
yeah,
trying.
keep trying.
Yeah.
And
Just because you're not enjoying it doesn't mean Allah's not loving it.
that's what was, mashallah, you're always taking words out of my mouth now. Yeah, you both of you doing it today. So yeah, because you're not enjoying it, it doesn't mean that Allah's not happy with you.
And
That-
plus,
that-
you know, with congregation has its own challenges, of course.
Yeah.
You've got people of all backgrounds and health and everything. You've probably got Babaji next to you who's coughing away.
Yeah.
You've got on the left, you've got somebody who's had, you know, some kebabs and he's burping at you.
Yeah.
And all of this is happening in and around you.
Is it vegetable or meat?
Yeah.
one?
You know, I want to touch on something you said. What shocked me is, you know how you said like make a relationship with the Quran and you'll find the joy of it, Traweeh and all of that. Was in our mosque we've got Hafiz Yasin, right? He recites the slowest, right? In some people's opinion, too slow.
Yeah.
Now, I've actually done my own investigation. It's not the elders. The elders absolutely love his recitation. And I thought of everybody, it'd be that older generation who probably don't know much about Quran and, you know, they're busy with their lives, etc. That they would say, no, it's too slow, we need to get home quickly.
Plus, they've been used to listening to fast-paced
Yeah.
Taraweeh all their life.
Yeah, loving it. I slowed down. I've got a cough, right? So the past 3 days, I've slowed down totally. And the feedback I've got, they're like, this is how it should be. It's actually the youngsters who are coming like, it's too long, this, you want to get home and rest.
Yeah.
So it shocked me to the core that it's the elder generation who are actually
Subhanallah.
enjoying the tilawah.
How long was your Taraweeh today?
Today was quick. Today was very quick.
Because you only have one juz.
Only one juz.
How long did it take from beginning to end?
Probably an hour. An hour on the dot, I think. With
With mine, because I had to do all 20 rakat, it was standard 1.5 hours.
Is it? We were 1 hour and then witr. So 1 hour of Tawbah. And that was us reading slow. Hafiz Moin obviously kept the pace. So those of you who've been to Central Mosque.
One little survey which I did on one person, so I still call it a survey.
Okay.
Is
One person?
You're on one person, because it's sometimes good to
No,
be
you
on one
said
rather than 100.
Field
in.
reviews, eh?
So basically, what the survey?
100% of respondents, what did they say?
Okay, no, this is it. You see, that's why it's good to do it. Looking at him, how
We've
he
done
was.
that in uni, you know,
Yeah.
you present your data, like 100% of people said this. Turns out you only asked
We asked one person.
This is 100% now. So 10 years ago, he used to be fed up. Like, I mean, he would try to skive the masjid. You know how they play around at the back or they escape or they ring their phone, go out and come back last Traweeh. So he loves it now. And I said, what happened? Like, he actually said to me the other day that 20 rakat is too less.
Too less.
Can we do more Traweeh?
You can.
I go, serious?
Do tahajjud? Do
You
the
know-
8 rakat there?
You know, he said 20 rakat is less. And I said, like, what actually happened? He grew older 10 years ago to now. So, you know, when you talk about older men, I don't know why old men have this perseverance which young people don't.
I think
Maybe they're more
it's-
calm in their personality. So young people should wait a little for Hafiz Fahim.
I mean, they know the value of time now and
Yeah.
using it better.
It's
Yeah.
a realization.
You know, they're the people you ask them, they probably got 1,000,001 regrets. So they know now, I need to use my time, whatever's left of it, even better.
Yeah.
And the sad part of that reality is they don't have more or less time than us. We've got the same amount of time, all of us. Meaning we could go at any point.
Yeah.
So carry on, you know.
Gee.
Okay, we got. I think
Question.
Musa wants to ask something as well.
You know how we're talking about youngsters? I think, you know, all this issue is encouraged by social media. There's something called imposter syndrome.
Okay.
So they feel like they're not worth it. Like, you know, on social media, they see some influencers and they're proper big and they want to be like them. And they say, look, they already achieved so much and we can't achieve it and they're not worth it and they bring themselves down. I think that's similar is happening here. They think we need to look up to Sahaba. When they look up themselves, they think they're not worth it. So what's the point of trying anyway?
Imposters. You ever heard about
Imposter
this?
syndrome.
Well, look, we shouldn't. There should
That's
be no
exactly what I was
delusion.
talking about before.
You could be sat in the mosque listening to a speaker on the pulpit. No one, not Allah nor His Rasul, has told us that the speaker is better than the ones who are listening. You could be better than the individual. Just because people are put in positions of leadership doesn't mean that they've got more wilayat than you. Doesn't mean Allah is closer to them. Allah is equidistant to us all. You understand? He's as far or as close as He was to a prophet than He was to us. All it takes is one dua. All it takes is one moment. So everybody's worth it.
Is that somebody the other day said to me that whenever you meet you, you're always smiling? I said, I don't smile all the time. Similarly, somebody said, oh, look at that Hafiz Sahab. He's always in that attire. I bet he sleeps like that. And I go, no, he doesn't. Yeah. It's the perception is what you see, what you hear, you know, what you think. So they said to another brother, he's always talking religion. And he doesn't always talk religion. You know, it's just that this perception. So I think one of the things that we discussed way back in the past is being like the people that you meet in public. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who whichever company he would go to, whatever they're talking about, he would talk about that as well. I think Hafiz Uzair Sahab once said as well that, you know, he's not always dressed like this. If you see him in other types of dress, you'll be.
You see me during the day, you wouldn't recognize me at all.
Yeah, we'll still respect you though, you know, because, you know, in fact, one day.
Actually, you know, right now we're doing a job near. I'm not going to mention the masjid.
Okay.
And just across the road from the masjid, and so the Babajis passed by, and I let on to them, and they were like, "Acha beta ji, where are you from?" Yeah, and one of the Babajis, he clocked on, and he kept silent as well. He was playing along, and the others they're like kind of interviewing, and we're having these discussions. And I mentioned Hafiz Fahim, and I mentioned Central Mosque, and and I mean around the masjid and stuff like that. He's like, "Ha beta, come to the masjid." Take Babaji. That's fine.
Do come to the masjid.
Do come to the masjid. So he was doing his
tabligh, his
dawah.
dawah.
So alhamdulillah, barakallah.
Mashallah. You see, this is the lovely thing that, you know, when you mix in the community. One of the things somebody said that ulama should get jobs in the community, because then they can relate to the community more. They'll be, for example, catching public transport, or they're working in an office. There's that they go. A lot of people don't even know who their neighbours are properly, and that's a shame. Living as Muslims in Britain, that we've got so many people. At one time we had, not too long ago, a few months back, we were thinking, rather than inviting people over for samosas and kebabs in the house who are non-Muslims, and, you know, then chilling with them outside, why not just say to them, would you like to become a Muslim?
Well,
you'd be shocked how many converted. They said nobody actually really said that to us before, and some of them said, we like to try things out, we wouldn't mind trying that out. But we did.
Oh, that's dangerous.
Yeah, that's dangerous. I won't mention what we had the discussion after that. But the thing is that, and one of the reasons for that, just to say, one of the reasons for that is those who come into Islam come in seriously. Yeah, like leaving it would be a problem.
Even if they were to come in just to try it out, but then behind that trying out, you have those people that make sincere du'as for them in the background.
Yes.
You know, those du'as go a long way. I know about Habib Kazim, for example, came around. Sheikh Ibrahim was mentioning that they met somebody, they went to meet a Muslim brother at a hospital.
Yes.
Have you heard that story, yeah? And there was a woman who was also ill, and she asked who's this individual. So he came around and described some things. But then afterwards, Sheikh Ibrahim goes, Habib Kazim, throughout the entire night, was constantly reading something.
Oh, yes.
He was on the go, he was reading something. And went back the following day, had another discussion. And I think by the end of that discussion, she had accepted Islam.
Subhanallah.
So, you know, du'as. And I mentioned this earlier in one of the earlier podcasts as well. You know, when we give tabligh, one element that we miss out and we leave out is that after having done delivering your message,
do dua.
Go back and make dua for that person. Because that's probably what's just left. The one thing between him and accepting your da'wah that you had given was that dua which can lift that hurdle, and he enters.
Yeah, like
talking about Sheikh Ibrahim, he said 9/10 of our dawah is dua.
It's all based on dua. It is.
Look at the story of Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu anhu.
Oh,
he reads the ayahs of the Quran.
Yeah.
Is that the ultimate reason as to why?
No.
Or was it the dua of Nabi sallallahu
alaihi wasallam?
Mashallah.
You know,
Mashallah.
so you do mean, and Habib Kazim, such an individual, like his smile. If anyone's seen who he is, it's one of those glances, those smiles. That
actually, you know, like Habib Kazim, you know, you might think this is a bit naughty, and any of the Habeeb team listening now, they will think, oh, seriously, but they know me anyway. So what I did was, one day I was with Habib Kazim, and I was testing him out a bit. Testing him out a bit. So basically I was being a bit rough with him, because he's such a sweet guy. He's all mellow. So I was being a bit rough with him, like shaking his hand roughly, and you know, like I came from behind and I grabbed him and I twisted him around and all this kind of thing. I was just playing around, but he was still smiling. He was still like fondly and softly shaking my hand, and then I kissed his hand and walked off. And the reason why we were doing this is because there were some other people with me who had different views about something, like people who we consider to be awliya in this day and age. are they really awliya, question mark? I mean, if they're put in a certain situation, would they change?
How would they respond?
Some of these people, seriously, they do not change.
Yeah.
Their state does not change. They're always thankful to Allah, grateful to Allah. Habib Kazim making dawah in the deserts of Yemen was beaten up so much so almost they said that he died. Yeah, and they lifted his body, brought him out, and then he went back to, when he was well, he went back to for dawah again. So
they've gone through a lot.
Yeah.
I've travelled, I've been there, and when you see him, obviously his tarbiyah comes from who?
He's, yeah.
And that without a question, if you've been in his presence, you know that man, he moves hearts. He touches heart the moment he opens his mouth.
Yeah.
He's
You know,
changed.
he
He's
came to
changed
Egypt
lives.
whilst I was there. He came undercover
Yeah, you mentioned
without announcing to anybody, just to do ziyarah and go. Alhamdulillah,
Mashallah.
we got a glance of him. Got a glance of him.
Subhanallah.
Just one glance, it was always.
Subhanallah.
Subhanallah.
I'm gonna now. The reason why I said that is because we were talking about traweeh and now we're talking about awliya, and filling in the gap. And I said this on purpose. Reason being is being real again. You know,
something just flashed in my mind. Sorry, you said Habib Kazim still gave you attention.
Yeah.
Still looked at you no matter what you were doing to him. And the ayah came to mind. We read it today. ولا تصعر خدك للناس ولا تمشي
في الأرض
that even
مرحا.
when person speaks to you, you should face towards them. This is from the prophetic mannerisms, also from the advices of Luqman Hakim. And he
Subhanallah.
advises his
I
son.
was coming from behind, left, right, so but you know like directly face me, you know, and I thought
It's in the
Subhanallah,
Shama'il
and I
that
fell in love with
when
him
the
even
Nabi
more.
supposed to speak to someone, his entire body would be facing that
Facing
person.
the
He
person.
would turn to him.
And that does a lot. That does a lot when you address someone.
Subhanallah.
If especially look for the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. You know, like that elderly woman that called out Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam outside the masjid.
Yeah.
He went out. Then she said, no, I want to go to the corner of the street, not here, the other side. So he went, and he stood there for such a long time. Some, Sharihi mentioned hours went by, and he said, Allah as well, if I'm not going to listen to her, then who is? Yeah. So him giving attention for that person, it could be a life-changing moment.
Yeah.
So when these the awliya Allah and men like this, when they are called, they know, and they feel that responsibility, that by me just even responding to somebody or turning or looking at somebody, it could change his life because of the respect that they consider, the reverence they give. You don't know how powerful that could be.
Yeah.
And
You know, with the awliya, with the Habeeb, they say that our greatest fear is that Allah may replace us. That's our greatest fear, and they are only there because of us. They're only there because of us. They've been given that maqam because of us. That's saying a lot in itself.
You were saying something before I cut you off.
Yeah, about the being real with the
being
awliya.
real,
Yeah, okay. So this is something really touchy, and something which I think needs to be said. You know, when we talk about Sahaba or awliya, and obviously we can't be Sahaba, but there's a potential that we can be awliya. And then we have one life, and it's a short life, and we only got one shot at it, etc. Yeah, and then you feel really lethargic when we're talking about like traweeh, and when you're sitting in the company of great men, and you think, how great are they? When you hear about what they get up to, and what are we doing? Yeah. Now this hopelessness comes into people. Yeah, they think I'm this level, I should be a level that when I meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on Judgment Day, I'm pure and to the best of my level. Okay, what is that step that they can take from here where they are now to meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on Judgment Day at that pure best level of themselves?
What is the step that they can do?
Yeah, something simple, something practical, something that they can do.
That will boost them, is what we're saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think even if it's short baby steps, but make them as sincere as possible.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
all it is.
Sincerity. Yeah.
That's all. Because like Imam al-Ghazali concludes in Ayyuhal Walad, so his letter to the student,
Yeah.
and he summarizes that all my readings and understandings of the Sharia and the Deen, the inner and outer sciences, says everything the Deen, if I was to condense it, I would describe, and his description is, it's all about sincerity. And sincerity is what? Your relationship with your Lord.
Yeah. Doing it only for Allah, 100%.
Even if it's baby steps.
Yeah.
it's not about Allah Rabbul Alamin doesn't look at the number of deeds you've done. It's the quality of the deeds that you have done.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all that's actually required. That quality one deed of yours. Like we have many hadiths of Bani Israel, that woman, that prostitute woman, yeah. One amal, just feeding that dog water, was sufficient for her forgiveness. But that one deed was done with such sincerity, it dominated all the evil she had ever done.
So now I got you where I wanted, because what Hafiz Sahib said there. Sorry, you were going to.
He says, وَقُومُوا لِلَّهِ قَانِتِينَ.
Yeah.
So it's not about just praying; it's about praying with total devotion to Allah.
Absolutely.
You know, Allah says, you know, وَأَخْلَصُوا دِينَهُمْ لِلَّهِ.
Yeah. The pure wrist.
They purify their relationship with Allah for the sake of Allah.
Yeah.
So what I was thinking of when you said, what's the one thing they can do?
Yeah.
Is Tawbah. Make Tawbah immediately. Every single opportunity. See, Tawbah is a huge opportunity, we don't realize it. When you do a proper Tawbah, Allah says in the Quran, إِلَّا مَنْ تَابَ وَآمَنَ وَعَمِلَ عَمَلًا صَالِحًا فَأُولَٰئِكَ يُبَدِّلُ اللَّهُ سَيِّئَاتِهِمْ حَسَنَاتٍ. Allah will actually substitute all of your wrongdoings and turn them into good doings. So you can totally jump in terms of your rank, in terms of how many deeds you've amassed, if you just make Tawbah for them.
So the reason why I said
so even the Tawbah, bring it back to sincerity. If it's a mukhlis Tawbah, with sincerity and seeking Allah's forgiveness,
in fact, Allah,
and with the hope that يُبَدِّلُ اللَّهُ سَيِّئَاتِهِمْ حَسَنَاتٍ, He will substitute, He will convert all the bad into good. I mean, what more could you want?
Allah says in the Quran, in Surah Al-Tahrim, يا أيها الذين آمنوا توبوا إلى الله توبة نصوحا.
That's
sincere tawbah to Allah. What will He do? يكفر عنه, He will expiate all of your sins for you and enter you into a paradise, etc. So not just tawbah and sincere.
You guys ahead of me, always reading my mind. Nasuha, that's exactly what I was going to ask you.
Tawbah nasuha. But Tawbah nasuha means, well, as a description, a tawbah where, you know, it's a life changing.
Yeah.
It's a life changer. After that, you don't go back to that lifestyle that you had. You try to reduce. Now, when I say cut off friends, it doesn't mean like you delete their numbers and go on a rant. But it means like you take active steps and an active approach towards finding the good company. And over time, you replace that with the good company, the bad with the good, and then you'll see your relationship with your Lord growing. The brother you mentioned before about the traweeh, I think that's something he also needs. If he has the right people around him, that are, let's say, reciting the Quran, reading Quran, who have a relationship with the Quran, it will brush off on him as well. So when he stands in Taraweeh and he's listening to the Quran, he will try to experience what the other brothers are experiencing as well. When they will share their experiences of Taraweeh and whatever openings they've had in Taraweeh, he'll be looking for those same openings. And inshallah, the Rahman will have.
So you know when you said sincerity, now the reason why I say I got you where I wanted, it's a troublemaker here today, right? Is this you mentioned like quality instead of quantity? I got two questions on this. Number one,
I think I know where this is going.
You know exactly where it's going. So you know the brother who's playing Traweeh at home with quality compared to, you know, the quantity. The second point linked to this is, are we after the massive amount of good deeds, or are we after that change in us? Because Iblis had a massive amount of good deeds as well. Or are we after that change in us that Allah loves, that He wants in us? Because there's some of us who do a lot of good deeds, but when it comes to like the quality, because I was listening to Iblis and his antiques.
You were listening to Iblis?
Yeah, I was listening. I was in Ramadan, so he's chained up in it. So I'm really listening about him, Iblis. So I was thinking, well, look at this, you know, like the maqam that he reached, but was that maqam taken away because he wasn't sincere? Was that the reason why his maqam was taken away, his station was taken away? Or was it because...
Yes, some have commented that was one of the reasons.
Okay.
Because the maqsad behind that was more of an ego. It was more of, you know, him wanting a position all along.
Okay, so I keep on running to the masjid. I'm reading traweeh every day. I'm reading next to other people.
Yeah.
They know that I've come. On the day that I don't come, they say, "Oh, where were you?" But then I come back. I'm coming for the people and for Allah. But sincerity means 100% only for Allah. Otherwise, it's not accepted. Yes.
Yeah.
But there doesn't have to be a compromise.
Mm.
You know what I mean? There doesn't have to be like, okay, I'm going to do less, but I'm going to do it better. There doesn't have to be a
No,
compromise.
not in that sense. But do however much you want, like baby said, do however much you want. No, not how much you want. Do as much as you can with sincerity, and if you can increase the amount, better. Because Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Allah loves those deeds that you do, even if they're small but regular.
I was about to come to that.
Yeah.
Is istiqama? You're talking about that. The most beloved deeds to Allah is adwamuha wa in qal.
Yeah.
Those which are consistent.
Yeah.
Everlasting, long lasting.
With sincerity, of course.
With sincerity, yeah. So it's a difficult one.
Even if he look like coming back to that Tarawih scenario which keeps coming in today.
Yeah.
Look, I don't think he should compromise on the Quran. The barakah of the Quran will give him that, whatever he's searching for.
That sincerity.
Yeah, that not just sincerity. That.
But isn't that the case?
You
if he
know
Allah will put that sincerity in him.
It will come in.
Yeah.
But let's say if he deprives himself all this time by saying, I'm going to do the shortcut ones at home on my own because I think I'm feeling spiritual. Ask yourself, really, are you feeling that spirituality? And where is that really taking you? Because the tried, tested method of spirituality for the last 1400 years is in Jama'ah, listen to the entire Quran. Now you've got some next man coming up and say, look, my spirituality is going to be a different route I'm going to take from what the Salaf and what the awliya have experienced, and I'm going to do it without listening to the entire Quran. Yeah. That doesn't go for me. That doesn't work for me.
Let me add there as well.
Okay. And this is why I was saying those baby steps, which would then lead him in that direction. Mm-hmm. And the power of the Quran is that it will have an opening on him.
In fact, talking about the opening from the Quran, right? I'm someone who I want to dedicate my life to Quran. Yeah. And I feel like I've given something and I got more to give. When I ask myself, when is it that the Quran has most impact on me? Is it when I read it and I understand? Or is it when I listen to someone who understands, read it? And I find when you listen to the Quran being recited by someone who understands it, is a lot more powerful in terms of it penetrating your heart than you reading it and understanding it yourself. And that's actually one of the main reasons why those who know me, any program I go to, any opportunity for mic time, I always take one individual with me and I put him on the mic. Anybody, any guess?
Hafs
Yasin.
Yeah.
Why is it? I think I'm more than capable to recite it myself. Tajweed wise, no problem. But I always put him forward. Why? Because when a person reads who's got a beautiful voice, who understands the tilawah, it will go a long way into your heart. And that's what the Quran actually commands us to. The Quran says if you want rahmah to descend, وَإِذَا قُرِئَ الْقُرْآنِ when Quran's being recited, pay attention to it, be quiet, listen attentively.
لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ.
Rahmah will descend upon you. So this individual who's praying in his house, he should question himself, right? Put the spirituality aside. Is your recitation up to par? As good as the Imams? Do you understand it as good as that Imam? If no, then get back in the Jama'at and listen to the Quran being recited in a beautiful way as it ought to be recited by someone who has
So when we say understanding, it means somebody who does amal with sincerity as well. Because one of the complaints of some muqtadis is that when the Traweeh finishes, we all go and say salam to the Imam, and the Imam's chatting with other people, he's backbiting, he's slandering, he's saying certain things which are out of place as well. And then we think, is this the reason why we're not really benefiting?
See, such people shouldn't spend too much time in the company of those people that you stand behind anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, they're also human.
Yeah.
They make mistake.
Yeah. It doesn't mean they're less better than you. It just
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, the more exposure you have into his private life, the more you're actually damaging your relationship with him and your take on religious people.
Yeah.
I think that's a problem which needs to be addressed
but it
separately.
Goes without saying that, like Imam
course,
Ghazali prayed behind his brother, and so
go.
it goes without saying you should seek out pious imams.
You should, of course. If you know somebody like that, go to him.
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to
he
mention
can't
his
use
name.
that as an excuse to not go to the masjid.
Of course.
Just because that's a local one, and let's say, unfortunately, is somebody like that, that's not an excuse for him to not pray in Jama'ah.
Okay. Just talking about the colleague of ours who leads Traweeh. This person, the reason why I love to pray behind him was just as an evidence today of my good opinion of him. Today, in the tafsir of, I could deliver a short little explanation of what's been recited. I talked about the advices of Luqman Hakim.
MashaAllah.
And one of the advices of Luqman Hakim was to be good to your parents.
Yes.
So straight away after the majlis was over, I said to him, do you want to come to the podcast with me today? He goes, no, I'm going to go see my parents. He goes, because what you just said there, what Luqman Hakim told his son, it just hit me in the heart. I need to go act upon it now.
MashaAllah.
And I thought that's why I like listening to you read the Quran.
A man of amal.
He's a man of amal.
Sincere amal. No, absolutely.
Hafiz Saab's unique. He's a blessing for our community.
Yeah. I also like him because he's simple. Some of the worldly things I just sort of cheer, as I use the word, cheer on him about. He hasn't got a clue. Seriously, does that happen? That's why I like him.
That's him.
That's why I like him. Yeah.
Remember in our fiqh lessons?
Yeah.
It was ajib.
You know, Hafiz is one of those people. He's stunned by everything, and he's a nice person to be around.
Yeah,
Ustad used to call him one word in class. He goes, Hafiz just he's cute. Do you remember that? He goes, he's cute, just the way he is.
Talking about Hafiz Uzair Saab, one day invited Hafiz Uzair Saab to a mahfil zikr jahal, in loud zikr, and he said, if I do loud zikr, I might be thinking I'm doing it for other people around me, maybe showing off or pride or something like that, and he didn't come. So now he's telling us to come to Jamaat. So basically,
look, this one is sunnah muakkada.
Yeah.
So there's preconditions.
Sunnat al-kafaya.
Yeah. So he should be there, and like that's the only opportunity he's going to get to listen to the Quran.
Yeah.
Dhikr is enough ibadah, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do it or not do it, you can do it at home.
Because guess what we did?
What?
We invited the guy, this particular guy, to the zikr in which we were loud. Through that zikr, he says himself that he began to love to go to the masjid. Because the zikr did something to him. Yeah, it was, the baby steps, it was something for him. It was his level. All he was doing is using his voice. He was just sitting there. He could fall asleep if he wants or something. But because he was so loud, it did affect him. Yeah, he did go to a zikr khafi, like a silent zikr. And
that's my type.
Well, he said...
Be Naqshbandi, yeah? So by influence, be more of the quiet, inner ones rather than those that expose and come out loud.
Doing that kind of way. No, absolutely taken. But
my spiritual temperament, put it that way, if that's a word.
Yeah,
it's a quiet temperament.
And the big point is people's temperaments are different.
Yeah.
So I can't quote my temperament to somebody else can't quote it to me. So whichever way that you're going, alhamdulillah, it's all khair. And that's the point. One of the things that we do when we come to Ramadan is we look at, that person's been regularly to Traweeh, I haven't. Yeah, then you think, when he talks about religion, he's just being too religious. I mean, what does that mean? Like too religious. In other words, a bit artificial, a bit too, I'm religious on top, in that kind of way. So I think what we should instead, a good opinion of the other person is that's khair for him and yours is khair for you.
Yes.
Yeah, don't think that, he's less than you or he's pretending. Look at yourself. And this is the main point, like looking at yourself. So the third thing which I was going to go into is this. When you look at yourself with all the good advice that we've got today, so inshallah we'll be regular on Traweeh with as much sincerity that we can, and even if you have a bit of sincerity, you keep on putting the throttle down, and inshallah it'll get you further.
Keep going,
with Allah's mercy.
It's the like we said,
consistency.
The consistency that actually counts.
And
every time, remember, he has a knock-on effect. Every time he's challenged in Traweeh and he tunes off, when he tunes back on, I mean, he's forgotten how much reward he's getting.
Yeah.
Just for that effort to come back,
in fact,
in zone.
Allah says something to that, brother.
MashaAllah.
In Surah Ankabut.
Oh, yes.
Allah says, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا.
Jahadu is the word here. That's a killer
Those
word.
people who make that effort for our sake, Allah says,
No.
for His sake. Because we will guide him to where he needs to be. We will guide him to our
But he
path.
has to make the effort.
We were just waiting for House of Haim to come out with that after how much time has it been now? If he said that at the beginning, he would have killed off all my argument.
No.
So
there has to be a build up to it.
There have to be a build up to,
Yeah,
you know,
for you to
mashallah,
appreciate it.
mashallah. But that's beautiful. You see, just that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you what you're seeking is a big thing in itself, because you're trying, yeah. Okay. Talking about this, the third part was like being yourself. Some people have gone to Umrah, yeah, and they want to sit itikaf in, for example, Masjid Nabawi Sharif there for the last 10 days. Other people are still here, yeah. Some people may sit itikaf in their local masjids, women at home, and some people may not be able to sit itikaf, like even the sunnah, but maybe the nafil, maybe 1 hour a day or something like that. So hope for those people is, okay, you weren't on Umrah, you didn't read Jummah in Makkah and Medina Sharif, you didn't sit itikaf in Masjid Nabawi Sharif, you didn't do tawaf, yeah, you didn't do, you know, the complete rituals there. But if you are here, it means that Allah wants you to be here, and you can achieve what Hafiz I've just read earlier, what you can achieve here what you could not have achieved there, because Allah wants you here.
So
Allah wants you here. So this is hope for those people who feel, oh, you know, because I had a number of people ringing me, you know, I'm crying, my family's going, or my friends are going, I don't have enough money, I can't take time off work. And, you know, where does that leave me this Ramadan? Look what they're getting. Look what I'm getting.
I mean, these are other more further advanced discussions now, inshallah.
what they can do is be content with what Allah has given you, where He's placed you in life.
Allah.
Ultimately, He put you there.
Subhanallah.
And if He put you there, you're in the best place.
He wants you there. That's where He wants to see you.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If you're in Makkah, you're in front of the door of the Kaaba.
Allah.
In fact, let's go closer. You're between the door and the black stone. You're in Multazam.
Subhanallah.
Are you closer to Allah than me over here?
Allah.
You're not, are you?
You're not.
See,
You're not.
that's the beauty of our deen. Allah is not limited to a place.
Subhanallah.
Allah is everywhere in His attention. You know, you don't have to go anywhere to find Him. You understand? He's with you wherever you go.
Absolutely.
ادعوني استجب لكم.
That's it.
MashaAllah.
أينما تكونوا يدرككم
وهو معكم
أينما
أينما
تولوا فثم
وجه
وجه
الله
الله.
Subhanallah.
Wherever you turn, you'll find Allah's mercy.
Subhanallah. You know, yeah, you guys are
فثم
reading
وجه
my
الله.
mind. I was going to say, like, the direction.
Yeah.
There's no direction.
And
Whichever way
likewise,
you turn.
The Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi
Subhanallah.
Wasallam are
Sallallahu
not
alaihi
limited.
wasallam.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to Masjid Nabawi
Yeah.
for you to be in their company.
Yeah.
They can come visit you if they want.
Absolutely. When were we ever disconnected?
Exactly.
Subhanallah.
Yeah, so
MashaAllah.
a reference to that is, you know, the discussion we're having right at the end of yesterday's podcast. We had a good 10-minute discussion on that.
After the podcast?
No, on the podcast.
On the
last
podcast.
10 minutes of it.
Okay.
So visit that one. Okay, we'll finish off on a question Saab and others have been asking for a while now.
Yeah.
And as we're in the last few minutes. And the question is that, is wishing death upon somebody haram?
Okay, is wishing death upon somebody, is it haram?
Yeah, is it haram to wish death for somebody?
I'm gonna say I asked my family friend who came on the podcast, Umar, and he told me everyone's gonna die anyway, so your wish is not really important, is it?
I was going to say the same thing. I said, well, how would you ask? You can't bring it forward and you can't delay it.
لن يؤخر الله نفسا إذا جاء أجلها. Nobody's going to delay death by a second. When it's been destined, it's been written. That's it. It's going to happen. But to make dua, I know, remember reading somewhere, you're not allowed to make dua for yourself, for your own death. So I'm sure you're not allowed to make dua for death for somebody else either.
Yeah.
Why would you do that anyway?
It's like a curse in one
Yeah,
way, isn't
it's
it?
like a curse almost.
Yeah, it's like a curse, and you don't want it to return back to you.
Yeah. It's from the qualities of a believer that he doesn't curse.
Yeah.
We shouldn't curse anybody. It's not our job. It's not our place to say.
Well, one of the things that there was, I was sitting with some people who had a very big grudge with some other people, and they were wishing all sorts of them. May they go to hell. May Allah strip them of their good deeds. This and that. And I said, you know, if I had the person right in front of me now, and I set him on fire, would you be able to bear that? They said no. the whole point. So anyway,
Okay.
so Muslims' hearts, alhamdulillah, may Allah make them soft.
Jazakallah. Barakallah. Inshallah, we'll see you tomorrow with a new episode.
Inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.